Hey, our next patron hangout is happening on Thursday, June 21st at 5 p.m. Pacific time. That's where Jeff and I jump on to a Google Hangout with everyone who supports us at the $5 a month level and above. If you want to get in on that, head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Eating the burger. I love this burger.
Love it.
Oh, it's very good. Into the Spider-Verse, everybody.
Do
This
it.
is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. Who's going to flinch? Who's going to flinch and do their story?
Go for it.
I don't have one
Oh,
up.
I got it. Good news, Anthony.
You have a story?
I have a story.
Great.
And we, the collective we, have a butt brain. We have a butt brain.
Uh-huh.
Brains in our butt.
Now, it may be
It's a
because
butt brain.
Now, maybe because I have a
Brains
butt
in
brain,
your butt.
Jeff, but I'm going to need you to explain that a little bit more.
Well, it's hard to wrap your regular brain around your butt brain, but I'm going to give you
Sure, you need to be extremely flexible.
you need limber up. But
my father always told me I had a knack for it.
well, that's a bit of your family history I don't want to get into. Let's just transition right into butt brains and talk about the fact that your gastrointestinal tract, we now know, based on new research, actually a report from scientists in Australia, because they're good at finding out stuff that's happening down under, discovered that.
So, I just that's the one that you were like, not just that's your one in the sense where I always tell you that's your one dad joke. But that I just saw in your eyes. That's just the one joke you wanted to tell so badly about this story.
Honestly, it just occurred to me when I looked down and saw Australia.
You just saw it and you were like, wait. You just looked down and saw Australia?
Yeah.
Have you read this story?
Barely. Do I ever?
Do we need a minute?
No. I got this. Your gastrointestinal tract houses millions of neurons. This is a new nervous system that we've discovered. It's called the enteric nervous system. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Enteric. And it controls muscle movement in your colon. So if you can imagine, I'm sure many listeners, I will cop to this myself, have been in a situation when you feel like you are or are not able to poop. Let's say you're not able to poop for a long time and you're trying really hard to control it with your brain. It turns out your brain has nothing to do with it. There is literally a nervous system that controls the functioning of your colon and your gastrointestinal system that coordinates the muscle movements to expel feces and do all sorts of things that have to happen down there.
Yeah, okay. But when you say that your brain and your conscious exertion have nothing to do with it, that's not entirely true, right?
Well, according to this study, these neurons
you got to be close to toilet training, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
you tell your kid push kid, push it out.
Yeah, you can push, certainly, but the actual process by which it all happens is governed by this system, which is...
Well, that's a little weird to say because that's like saying just thinking about moving your hand doesn't move your hand. Your hand requires the nerves and the muscles in your hand to move. Yeah.
But...
Of course it does.
And when I say but, I mean but.
Right.
This is a coordination of these muscles that actually is governed by these neurons. At least that's what this study is asserting. They're not saying that they have found this to be the case in humans. Let's be clear about that.
Oh, okay.
But they have found it in mice, but it certainly seems that would be the case if it's in mice, that it would be in more complex mammals, and mice are very similar to humans in lots of ways.
Now, you're saying neurons and nervous system. Is this neuron like we think of brain neuron, or is this something where it's a part of a nervous system that isn't a conscious brain?
They say it controls the colon independently of your central nervous system. It is its own enteric nervous system. This is a bespoke
okay. So I guess
body.
my confusion comes in when they use the word brain.
I agree. I think it's misleading. I think it's intentionally so. I think it's a fun headline to say you have a brain in your butt. But basically the idea is this functions independently of the brain and it functions sort of similarly. Mm-hmm. So basically this enteric nervous system is a mesh of neurons that work as a network in and of themselves that are separate and independent from your central nervous system.
Okay.
Which is pretty remarkable because it explains a whole range of things that you're familiar with, like IBS and all kinds of colon
Well, it's also
problems.
nice to know that just like when you go to sleep and you've got a system that keeps you breathing and you got a system that keeps your heart beating, you got a system that keeps your butt clenching. Like, it's good to know that when I go to sleep, not only will my heart keep beating and my nose keep breathing,
right,
my butt will keep clenching.
Butt will keep clenching. Very important to clench the butt during sleep.
And now I can sleep. I can rest a little bit easier.
Yeah,
because those were my biggest fears when I was like 5 years old.
Yeah,
I think I've talked about this on the show before. There was that garbage show, Today's Special.
Oh, sure.
Which Kids Ask Your Parents.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Today's Special was a weird like mid to late 80s Nickelodeon morning program. I think it probably feels like the sort of thing that originated probably in Canada.
Probably.
But
half the stuff on Nickelodeon was Canadian.
Yeah, they just bought stuff from the Canadian broadcast system. But I think what was going on was there was a department store with a magical mannequin. And when you put the hat on the magical mannequin, it could come to life.
Yeah.
And then they would teach it things that humans know because it's mannequin.
Yeah. But you have to be careful because it melts, I think. Isn't that?
It's not that it melts. It's just for whatever reason, they decided that this poor mannequin could not be found out by anyone else. There was like a puppet that was a security guard.
Because then you would destroy the mannequin.
I don't think it was that the mannequin would be destroyed. I think they just decided everyone was better off if this mannequin didn't have a free life.
Let's not fuck with your assumptions about what is alive and what isn't.
Yeah, they were just kind of like, look, you're a mannequin, and we've decided that even though when we put this magical hat on you, you become a living, breathing, feeling, thinking human being, we don't like that. And in the morning, you have to be mannequin again.
But I like being alive.
Sure, we all like being alive.
It's so
You
free.
don't get to be alive,
But
though.
I want to go out and see and learn and know.
I'm sure you do. But how are we going to sell all these fine Massimo products?
I do enjoy wearing Massimo.
We need to display them here at the JCPenney.
Yeah.
The official home of Massimo now, I think.
Massimo and Body Glove.
Yeah, all of the brands that maybe your uncle once thought were cool.
It gives me purpose.
Yeah, it does. And life doesn't give anyone purpose. Take it from somebody who's alive all the time. If I could trade places with you, I would.
Let's trade places.
Unconvincingly, as he removed the magic hat. Yeah, I forget. It was just a rule. This mannequin was not allowed to have a life.
Okay.
But I do know that there was one episode where they decided mannequin gets to sleep in a bed like a real boy.
Uh-oh.
And mannequin,
that's complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated because they didn't duct tape his hat to his head or anything. Like, there's a lot of rules here that just like, how is this going to work?
He rolls slightly to the right, the hat gets dislodged.
And then it doesn't work.
And it's a mannequin again.
But he wanted to sleep in a bed overnight like a real boy. So they gave him a bed and they put him in. And
they like to fuck with this mannequin, don't they?
Yeah. And they were going to take it away.
Sleep in this bed one time, mannequin.
Just to know. And then it's gone. But he had questions, right? Because this mannequin was supposed to be obviously like a metaphor for children and children's questions.
Sure.
So mannequin questions were like, what happens if I go to sleep and my heart stops beating or my lungs stop breathing?
Right.
And I guess I was like 5 years old or whatever at that point. That had never fucking occurred
You're
to
like,
me.
that can happen?
So instead of allaying my fears, today's special,
new ones?
Yeah, today's special actually put those fears into my brain. Like all of a sudden I was just like, oh, that's a thing? And the show was like, immediately afterwards, like the woman was just like, stupid mannequin, that's garbage. You have garbage mannequin thoughts. That doesn't happen.
You're like, now I have garbage mannequin thoughts.
Yeah, but like, what if mannequin right? Like, what if somebody does just stop?
Sleep tight, kids.
Because the other thing is like, I wasn't a dumb kid. I'm not going to say I was a super smart kid, but I wasn't a dumb kid.
Yeah.
And when you're not a dumb kid, children's television doesn't properly answer your questions. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they were just like, oh no, don't worry. Your brain won't let that happen. And I was just like, what do you mean? How does my brain not let that happen? You need to explain the functions of the human body that make this so.
Yeah, you can't just leave it there.
Oh, no.
Oh, don't worry. That's the likelihood of that happening is so low.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where like when your parents go off to work and they're just like, and you're like, well, what if something happens, you don't come back? And they're like, that won't happen. And you're like, you can't promise that, asshole.
Right, yeah.
There are a lot of variables out there.
Why not? I said so. That's not good enough.
You're not infallible.
Yeah.
And neither is this fucking department store clerk who is apparently a science teacher now,
right.
who can't tell me why brain doesn't allow heart to stop beating.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that in addition to brain not allowing heart to stop beating or lungs to stop breathing, there is butt brain that keeps butt clenched.
Yeah, it is good. Not to go too far afield here, but it made me think that when I was a kid, I remember I wanted to continue chewing gum at night in bed as I went off to sleep because I loved gum. And my parents told me that if that happened, if I went to sleep with gum, it would end up in my hair. And for years...
Seems like a long way for gum to travel.
Well, for years, I thought there was some property of gum that if you fell asleep with it, it would instantly make it to your hair.
Oh.
Like that was...
Like maybe even it transfers somehow through the blood-brain barrier.
Yeah.
And grows out of follicles from your scalp.
Like gum is... One of the functions of gum is that if you fall asleep with it in your mouth, it ends up in your hair.
It's the transitive property of gum.
That's what I thought. So yeah, kid logic is not entirely sound all the time.
No.
But that's some fucked up shit. I do like the fact that there is something taking care of making sure my butt doesn't leak.
Potentially.
Yeah. The interesting thing about this, or another interesting thing about this, is the fact that they're calling this a second brain, but in reality, this may have been
the fourth.
No. It could have been your first brain. They say that on all likelihood, your butt brain evolved before your brain. That we needed to control our anus before we needed to control anything else.
Sure. When we were all bodily functions and motor functions.
Right.
That makes sense. Well, it's kind of like how we have our brain stem. We have our lizard brain, our leftover instinctive brain. It makes sense that we also have this butt brain.
Right.
How does this connect to kitty cat tail brain? Where tail go on its own?
Maybe you think the kitty cat tail just because it's proximity to the butt?
Yeah. And cat chase it like it's not part of cat.
Yeah.
Cat get excited, can't control tail.
I feel like that's the next level of this research. We can't go right to humans. We got to stop off at kitty cat.
Stop off at that kitty cat.
And be like, what's going on with your butt?
So what does this mean? What will this research do? How does this help humankind to know about a brain butt?
Well, if we can prove that it's not just in mice and it also is in humans, they say that the short term is treating things like constipation and irritable bowel syndrome because we will understand how this to treat this nervous system. But this is how this article ends, and it's a weird thing to end with because it's not enough info.
He actually typed out, there's someone behind me.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends.
An odd way to end.
And it's a very odd way to end.
Yeah.
Because you typed it?
Why did you type it? Why couldn't you just turn around? You could have screamed. Yeah, you could have run out of the room by that point.
You know what it was? It was Mannequin who didn't know that you can write and scream at the same time. They were trying to teach it human things. Yeah.
No, this article ends with, additionally, there's a possibility that learning the way the second brain works could help lead to new treatments for depression and anxiety. And it just leaves it there. I mean, I feel like that is a little general. It's a little weird because like, hey man, that seems like the beginning of a whole new thing. If I had to guess, I would say that, we've talked a lot about how our emotional and mental states are connected to physical systems in our body. Yeah.
And how physical symptoms can turn into emotion. Like, we talked about how if I have a chest cold, I tend to feel a little anxious because it mimics the feelings of anxiety.
Exactly. And we're learning a lot about how gut health can affect your mood and how your microbiome can affect your mood in big ways.
Yeah.
So maybe this is all that if your gastrointestinal brain is depressed.
This is connected to poop clock.
Poop clock, meaning the thing that decides
poop clock, every
if
day,
you're regular or not.
Yeah, every day you kind of have to poop at the same time. Poop clock.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. This is the poop clock's probably in your butt brain.
This is the quartz timing crystal of the poop clock.
Yeah, I bet your boob.
If you were to open up the Casio watch of your ass, this would be the quartz crystal that keeps the movement perfect.
Your Casio watch.
Your Casio watch. Yeah,
I got it.
No, I didn't do it. You did it. You didn't get anything.
I was getting what you were doing.
You turned it into a thing.
It wouldn't be something I would do. It's something you did that I caught.
Wow.
Yeah. I noticed
butt
it.
Brain. You're a butt brain.
What if we have more brains than just these two?
Oh, shit, man. The way they're defining brain, I feel like we have 1,000 brains.
Do you think we just have all brains everywhere?
Ooh, I'm all brains, baby.
You're like brains all the way down?
I'm into out, up to down. It's brains, baby. Now that we're calling any nervous system a brain?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
We got ear brains.
Ear brains.
Arm brains.
Arm brains. The arm brain's connected to the shoulder brain, Jeff. It's all in the song.
I think that's true.
I feel like this entire article was written by the woman who was teaching the mannequin how to live. She's like, yeah, I'm a science teacher now. Imagine being a clerk at a department store and you're all of a sudden, in addition to like just counting out your till and making sure it balanced out at the end of the night. Oh, cool. Now I'm like the fucking representative of all humankind and our knowledge.
Well, imagine
for this strange new being.
Imagine being a clerk at a department store. You're counting out your till at the end of the night. You got new life that appears in your store, and you decide, I'm gonna keep it secret, keep this job, hang on to this job because
this is the job.
This is the job I want.
This guy being alive,
I'm not gonna monetize that.
Could fuck with my minimum wage job at the JCPenney.
Hey. Bird in the hand, right?
That's what they say. Bird in the hand is what is right next to Massimo on the rack at JCPenney. It's their outdoorsy brand.
Yeah. Bird in the hand.
Yeah, it's all like, I don't know what body type it's for. Like a lot of people have tried it on and it doesn't seem to fit anyone.
Bird in the hand is like boxy flannels.
But it's very cheap. You get like 8 bird in the hand flannel shirts for the price of like one Massimo.
Can I tell you the honest truth?
Yeah.
I got made fun of so many when I was a kid for wearing bird in the hand.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, my parents are constantly giving me bird in the hand. I'm like, please, can I just have anything? I need some Massimo, some body glove, please, mom, dad. No.
And now you can have all the Massimo and body glove you want for just pennies on the dollar.
Pacific, what it was, Ocean Pacific?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
These are all the brands.
All the brands.
Hey, welcome to the podcast where we talk to you about all your favorite brands.
From 1987.
From 1987 and before? After? I don't know. Time all runs together. Especially when you're a magical mannequin that only gets to live for half a day at a time. Butt brains. Maybe we didn't have much to say about them.
But it's fun to say.
But who are you to attack us?
Right. You're not some mannequin that's come to life.
No. And if you are a mannequin that's come to life, please let us know on Twitter.
And thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thank you for making this one of your first ways to learn about the world. We are not much better than the clerk who puts the hat on you every night. If you are a mannequin, please reach out to us on Twitter and let us know how you're finding Earth and what it's like for you. I'm at A. Carboni.
I'm at Jeff Canada.
And you can just hashtag those today's special. Because you're a mannequin that's just come to life, I feel like I need to remind you that you can't put apostrophes in hashtags. It will break them.
Yeah.
So just today's special without an apostrophe, you dumb fucking
That is
mannequin.
the only thing that separates mannequins from humans.
That's it.
Their use of apostrophes in hashtags.